podcasting in its simplest, most basic definition is long form content that is just begging to be repurposed.
Welcome to this episode of Think Like a Producer. Today we are going to talk about how podcasters master content marketing. A lot of big words, but we're going to make it very simple for you. So basically, when we typically bring up podcasting, when we get our individual client conversations, a lot of people are just, how do I get more people to listen to the podcast? I got to get everyone from all of my from all my other accounts, my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, whatever, all over to the podcast so I can have millions of downloads. But we would argue that your podcast is actually a great way for you to create more content across all those other platforms. So this is your show, right? This is your idea. This is your perspective. This is your unique take on the world. However you're deciding to do it. If you're reviewing movies, if you're interviewing people, if you're taking a political stance, the great thing is it's your show. You can do whatever you want, but we just don't want you to necessarily think that once you have a podcast, now that's where you need to funnel everyone needs to go. You can actually think of it in a reverse way. Your podcast now can be cut up into smaller pieces, smaller unique perspectives, and posted across all your different platforms. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Christine, let's just break down and define what content marketing is.
So, as we know, there are an abundance of platforms to share your content on. And when we say platforms, we're talking social media, but also email, blogs, guest articles on other like actual editorial websites. So platform. We're in an era of a lot of platforms. And like Tiff said, it can be really overwhelming if you try and be everywhere at once or try and use the same piece of content on every platform and then get very mixed results. So we're going to break down what, if you're unfamiliar with the term, content marketing is in a really simple way, and then how we've seen podcasters use that idea very effectively because they're podcasters. So content marketing means that you're marketing your business or your brand or whatever you're about using your content. So instead of just creating ads, you're actually creating content that people want to consume, that they learn something from, and that sort of under the surface is marketing you because obviously you're the source of the content. So then they start to think of you as the source of really good content, which would of course lead them to eventually buy from you when they need the thing that you sell. Okay, that was the most basic way to explain content marketing. But it's a huge thing, obviously, for any business. And whether you're super small, like you're a solopreneur, just you are the only person in your brand, or you're working for a huge company, content marketing is massive. And podcasting is uniquely sort of built to make content marketing really easy because podcasting, kind of in its simplest, most basic definition, is long form content that is just begging to be repurposed. So this is like just some simple examples to kind of get you thinking bigger about this. Let's say you record a 30-minute episode every week, and in each episode you're covering a certain piece of your topic that's really interesting to your target audience. Well, 30 minutes of spoken content is actually a lot of written content. If you've ever had one of your episodes transcribed, you get that transcription back. It is a good amount of words. So you can think of that right off the bat as a blog post, as something that you kind of edit down and put into either your emails, or you could put, maybe you're a big writer on Medium or LinkedIn or wherever you teach or share your expertise. Every single episode can immediately become a blog post or a piece of written content just from your transcription. Obviously, you'll, shave some of it off and kind of cut out the chitter chatter, but every episode likely is going to give you a really nice long form piece of written content and, think strategically for you what that will make sense. But probably you either have a blog or an email list or something like that you can share that written content on. So that's kind of easy peasy. Almost automatically, just from recording an episode, you have a piece of written content that you can use. Okay, now let's talk about some other platforms. Let's say you're really active on Instagram. Most companies and brands are these days. It's a pretty popular platform. So as we all know, Instagram is a visual platform. And you may be like, well, what's the easiest way to use my audio podcast on a visual platform? Well, we've covered this in other episodes, but we're really going to break it down today in a strategic way. Think about all the ways that you can take tiny little clips of that audio and either turn them into an Instagram caption, right? Long Instagram captions where you're actually teaching something or saying something really insightful or adding a lot of value. Those do really well. So your image that you select might, it could be anything relevant to your brand. Maybe it's a picture of you. Maybe it's a picture of the concept you're trying to illustrate. Maybe it's something really beautifully graphically designed that, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's all sorts of ways to create images that represent your podcast. But maybe the more important part of that post is actually the written content, where you just take a little section, just like a paragraph from your transcript and you reformat it. Now, obviously, because we talk about video on this podcast, yes, if you're filming your show, you would take the video of the the episode, whether it was an interview or not, and you can take tiny little slices, right? 15-second slices, 30-second slices, 60-second slices. Or maybe you realize you're going to capitalize on Instagram TV or on Facebook video, and you're going to actually create like 3 to 5 minute clips. There's all kinds of ways these platforms let you repurpose content now. And so you just want to be really thoughtful about what is this platform, one, rewarding the most. Like on Instagram right now, it's Reels. That's kind of like their copycat version of TikTok. That's the new product. That's what they're promoting. So anyone who's doing Reels is kind of getting the best reward from their algorithm. So you might do Reels. It might make more sense for you to just do still images because your audience loves reading the stuff that you write. Maybe you have a really kind of more information rich type of content where they need to be able to see it because you're listing out like specific terms or lists of things. So just the sky is the limit, but we just want to kind of start to jog your ideas to realize like, oh yeah, I've created this huge piece of content. If we're talking a 30-minute piece of content that I can cut down to like 15 or 30 seconds, that's a lot of little pieces of content. And the main point we want to make here is you're going to want to create different pieces of content from that original episode for each platform. You would create something very different for Pinterest than you would for Twitter. Pinterest is a visual search engine. Twitter is designed to spout out little blurbs of text. So obviously it's come a long way, but originally kind of like the backbone of Twitter is more of this like quick little micro conversation. So think about one, what you enjoy doing, of course. Don't get into waters that you don't enjoy because that'll lead quickly to burnout. But think about too, like, what is my content kind of begging to become? If I have video content, obviously it will make a lot of sense for me to repurpose that on Instagram TV, Instagram Reels, Instagram Stories, Instagram posts. Same could be said for Facebook. But if you have content that's actually really well suited to writing, like if you know that the way that your audio translates into written is really strong, then you may focus really heavily on your emails and your blogs and LinkedIn articles and things like that. So again, the point of this little chapter of the episode is think about each platform, where you can make the most impact, what you enjoy, and what your content is well suited to, and then create little tiny pieces of content from your big episode to fit those platforms. Okay, Tiff, I know that we have some really smart people that we use as references when we talk about this idea. So kind of tell us about the bigger strategy behind doing this.
Every piece of content that Christine was just talking about has its own unique purpose, right? So not everything is a call to action to listen to the podcast. It could be just, I want to inform someone on a particular thing that's happening in the world right now. I want my listeners to get to know who I am right now. So I'm going to post this like 15-second reel, like Christine mentioned, about where I grew up or something about me, particularly as the host or the creator of the show, or just the influencer in general. People that we really love, Brendan Burchard, Gary Vee, a lot of influencers you guys can probably think of in your head as we're breaking down content marketing right now. They have used not just any current podcasts that they have out now, but they have gone back into back catalogs of their show. That's the great thing, is that this 30-minute piece, this hour-long piece that you posted this week, But if you have 50 episodes in the bank, you have so much content you can repurpose. And we kind of covered this a little bit on our episode when we were asked what is good content, where we just gave a bit of strategies of how we think of what really serves your audience. But another thing I want to add on to that, and this for the particular point of this episode, is that it's okay to be as simple as possible. That 30-minute episode, that 60-minute episode can turn into 10, 15 pieces of content, not just now, but 3 months from now. It's really just depends on what's going on in the world, where your audience is at. But just looking at these other people, these other creators that you really love, like we mentioned, Brendon Burchard he does a really, really good sort of like teaching, and he's been posting a lot about this lately on his Instagram as of this recording. He's just been posting online about how he breaks down content and the importance of using your podcast for this kind of marketing. And Gary Vee, I mean, he's just built a production machine, I would say. There's so many producers, shooters, and editors who are taking his content from him vlogging and being all around the world. Even now with where we're currently at, where everyone's at home, he's got these guest interviews, and he's got these long, very like hour-long posts on his YouTube channel, but he's breaking down the most important points and what people really liked and resonated with, and putting that across all of his social media. So our argument here is just to let your podcast support you in all aspects of your business, all aspects of your audience growth. We call it something that we use a lot is the call to action. The call to action at the end of every post. What are you trying to get people to do? For us, it's always just trying to get people to know who you are, your show, your content, the story that you're trying to tell, a little bit more than trying to let everyone know you have a podcast. It'll be there. It'll be linked in your profile. It'll be linked in your YouTube description. Don't worry about people finding all the different avenues. But if right now you've got a very big audience on Instagram, cater to them. Like, give them everything that they need to learn and to grow and to follow you along in your journey, but also support that community. So I don't want to get too repetitive here, but that's basically some of the people that we like: Gary Vee, Brendon Burchard. Of course, like I said, you probably have a couple of influencers or people you see online posting. We'd love to hear about it. So leave a comment below on this YouTube video, on this YouTube channel, for maybe any other influencers that are really doing content marketing well that you really like, to share with the rest of the community so we can all learn from each other. Christine, is there anything else you want to say on this particular topic?
This is a huge part of building a business in today's world. So if this is really kind of getting your ideas going and you want more, we absolutely recommend checking out some of the free resources that Brendon and Gary have. It's pretty easy to find them. You can either, go to their websites and they'll pretty quickly like show you where to go. But this is like a much bigger conversation about marketing in general. So if this is something you're really interested in, we can dive deeper. Just send us a DM or an email and let us know, hey, I really love this. I want to know more. Or if you're ready to just dive in the deep end, there are great resources out there to kind of help you understand content marketing and repurposing what we call big content to become micro content. So welcome to the world of content marketing. This is our little entry offering, and we will definitely, be covering more of this strategy in future episodes. But if you enjoy the show, it would mean the world if you would subscribe and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Of course, check out the YouTube channel, and we will see you on the next episode of Think Like a Producer.
Check out this episode where we talk about what makes good content.
I feel like your mic is still kind of hot because your S's are like a little buzzy.
Super hot in there. Super hot S's. Can use it anyway. All right. Take
Great.
5.
Great first take.